going on, MMA fans? I'm back to do my MMA Corner number 16 video. I'm going to go over several topics that were sent to me. First topic that was sent to me was from DanRock17. Wanted me to talk about, since Elite XC has folded up, and Robbie Lawler will now eventually be a free agent, where would Robbie Lawler best be suited? Strikeforce, the UFC, or Affliction? At this point, where do I think personally Robbie Lawler would best be suited for competition? I think would be the UFC. You've got guys like Nate Marquardt, Rusmar Palhares, Dan Henderson, Dennis Kang that's now just coming to the UFC, Anderson Silva still. You've got a lot of good competition in the middleweight division in the UFC. Of course, Robbie Lawler was in the UFC before. Would he go to the UFC? Who knows? Affliction or Strikeforce might not have as many contract stipulations that might, make Robbie go, hey, that's a better, deal, and also money. Affliction might give him a good lucrative deal that he couldn't pass up, that the UFC might not give him. At this point, there's no way to tell. We'll just have to keep following it here in the next couple months to see where Robbie Lawler goes, but I do think he would be best suited for the UFC. Humble King 718 AJ wanted me to talk about, do I think Chael Sonnen has become better than he was 4 years ago in the UFC? I think he's improved. I don't think that he has still completely become fully well-rounded. I think one of his still reoccurring issues is his submission defense, which he still needs to work on. It's gotten better, but it still needs to improve. His cardio is another area of his game that he still needs some improvement in. He's gotten better. But from where he was in the UFC 4 years ago to now, yes, there has been an improvement. But I definitely think that there are some things he definitely needs to improve on. And like I said, I've mentioned those already. But he's proven himself. He's, a competitor. He's a savvy veteran of this sport. And, don't put anything past this guy. He could be one of the guys to look out for here in the next year that just happens to drop onto the map and does some damage. So, alright, on to the next topic, IDC 135. Want me to talk about, should Gina Carano and Christiane Cyborg fight in the WEC for one fight, or should they be used in a new organization that's going to be promoting women's MMA? Side note, of course, if the two ladies fought in the WEC, Zuffa would have rights to the footage. Some interesting things are brought up in this topic, and thank you for this topic, because this is one that you have to really dissect and look at. One is, what is Zuffa or Dana White or the Fertitas' intentions in bringing in one fight? Is it a publicity stunt? Is it to try to squash women's MMA by saying, oh, we put this fight on and nobody watched it? What is the purpose? Dana White has constantly talked down on women's MMA in the past. One of the other things that, just recently, of course, with the merchandising agreements, we saw that whole fiasco with John Fitch and the other fighters from AKA. But what would be the contract stipulations? Would Carano and Cyborg be held to those merchandising agreements, not allowed to have their own clothing lines, not allowed to, sign autographs or allow footage anywhere else? Would Zuffa retain the rights to all footage of both of these fighters? Those are things to think about. Personally, I think they would be better suited in a organization, like IDZ talked about, that is going to be promoting women's MMA. These two ladies have, either one of them, whoever wins this fight, has a fight that has to happen with Tara LaRosa, who is one of the best women's MMA fighters out there, fought in Bodog fight. Of course, Bodog folding up earlier this year, I think it was like May or June, they folded up. LaRosa and Carano, or LaRosa and Cyborg, would be a great fight. If you haven't seen Tara LaRosa fight, check out her fights. She is a very, very talented mixed martial artist, especially for a woman. Devastating hands. I really think these ladies would be best suited in an organization where women's MMA is going to be promoted. It's possible. Affliction has talked about they've wanted to do that. I know Strikeforce probably would entertain the idea of doing some women's MMA. So, wherever there's going to be a solid women's division, and that's probably not going to happen in the WEC, that's where these ladies should go. That's my opinion of that. So, this was a short MMA Corner. As I always say, leave me some comments, constructive, negative, positive. Leave me some ideas, some topics that you want me to go over in my next MMA Corner. I do this for the watcher and the subscriber to connect with you guys. And on that note, you guys, have a great day.